Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you had a lovely lunch. Welcome back. So, I'm absolutely passionate about all things mobile, excuse me. And what I'd like to talk to you today about is emerging markets. So before we get started, I just want to cover some ground on what mobile is, some of the current statistics and trends. So when you think about it, mobile started off being about communication. Simple point-to-point communication and the exchange of information, a common language. And I think a lot of people forget that the first application of a mobile device was to actually make a phone call. And things have moved from being about communication to things being about content as well. Initially, simple content, GPRS, WAP, picture messages, and ringtones. And this was basic content, the birth of the mobile web. And although it was basic, it aroused in users an eager want to really need more from mobile experiences. And this has moved things from being about communication to being about content, right up to present day, where things are about context as well. Users now demand experiences which are designed around them, provided in context to who they are, to where they are, and their own unique set of circumstances. And this completely changes the way we think about engaging users as brands. It changes the way that we behave and the way that we reach out. When you think about it, your mobile device is a high-powered camera. It's an MP3 player. It's a clock or your watch. It's your address book. It's your social network. But what is the biggest point about mobile that I'd like to make? Guys, if you could give me a hand in just making this point, what I'd like you to do is just reach into your pocket and take out your mobile phone for 1 sec. If you could do this now, this would be great. I've only got 15 minutes, guys, so. Okay, just put it up in the air for 1 sec. Okay, cool. Now what I want you to do is just look around the room and notice how everyone's device is different to yours. Some maybe have the same iPhone 5 or a Samsung Galaxy. Now what I want you to do next is pass your mobile device, bear with me, to the person on your left or right. If you're at the end of a row, you can pass it back. To the man shaking his head, do this now. So just swap your phones. So what I want you to do is notice how your neighbor's phone is different to your own. So it has a different casing on it, it's a different manufacturer. It's catering to their own needs. Okay, the next task, this is what I want you to do. I want you to open up your neighbor's phone and read out loud their most recent private text message. Go ahead and do it. You see, the thing about mobile is that it's personal. Mobile is deeply personal. And companies that don't understand that mobile is a different platform, different to the web, and this is how you need to engage. So with that, I'm going to move on to how this applies to emerging markets. And whether it's the developed world or emerging markets, you still need to have personalization. You still need to have contextually aware services. And many of you are probably aware of the opportunity that exists in emerging markets. But you know, it's not really as fancy as developing iPhone apps and Android applications and high-end user experiences. Maybe, you know, it's not as glamorous, but still, there is a huge opportunity for companies to capitalize here. For a moment, I'd like you to just imagine something. Imagine what your perception is of the developing world. You might be imagining pictures of despair and civil unrest, and overall, a daily struggle. But 3 out of 4 new mobile subscribers are actually coming from the developing world. And we think that's a huge opportunity for brands to engage. So my presentation here today is to tell you about the next chapter in the mobile playbook, about entrepreneurs throughout emerging markets and how they're using mobile technology to move themselves out of poverty, to build a sense of community, and to move forward. And as Bob Dylan said, the times, they are changing. So let me show you how things are changing. I think that we're going to be presented with a lot of challenges, especially in bringing the next billion online. And I think some of these challenges will be making sure that the poor and the marginalized do not get left behind. But there are big opportunities for brands to engage. Some of the biggest challenges, I think, are in the most rural communities where they live off-grid and they don't have access to the internet, they don't have access to power. There are many, many challenges. And I think it's going to be really the combination of mobile device manufacturers coupled with networks and development companies and technologists that will essentially bring the solution stack together to bring the next billion users online. But let's just talk about the elephant in the room for 1 second, and that's power. So picture this, right? You go home today, you arrive in from work, and you're hungry. You're going to cook your dinner, and you seem to have a power outage. So your appliances are on strike, your fridge is broken down, your cooker won't work. But that's grand. What I'll do is I'll just pick up my phone, and I'm going to ring a pizza or whatever it is that you want to eat. But your mobile phone is dead, and your charger won't work. So you can't eat. Kind of sucks. So think about that on a bigger scale. There are 1.6 billion people in emerging markets that live completely off-grid. So they don't have traditional access to electricity. I mean, such a luxury. You go home, you plug your phone in, you plug your laptop in, and it lights up with power. Imagine you didn't have that luxury. 1.6 billion people don't have access to traditional electricity, but somehow 600 million are mobile users. How does that work? So, introducing Kelvin Doe, aka DJ Strike, I think his name is. So this is an inspiring quote from a 15-year-old. I believe that through innovation, we can change our nation. Pretty cool. Let me tell you what this guy did. So from scrap materials, he was able to build his own FM transmitter. And he's one of the youngest practitioners to be accepted into MIT Media Labs. So here's how he built it. First of all, he needed a power source. So for his homemade battery, he used a combination of acid, some soda, and metal strip all poured into a can, and he was able to get a little bit of juice out of this and power the beginning of what was his radio station. But he soon found that to boost his antenna and boost the signal strength, he needed a stronger source of power. So not wanting to give in there, he innovated, and he developed his own generator. The generator not only could power his FM transmitter and radio station, but also his house. So he was able to light up his house, and he was able to broadcast to his community a radio station. But unfortunately, in his village, you'd be lucky if there was power once a week. So it's not much good having a radio station if you don't have any listeners. So what did Kelvin decide to do? All of the village queued up at his house. He charged their phones for them. They went home, and then he hopped on the radio transmitter, and they were able to listen to his radio show. Again, a really inspiring story from Kelvin. So let's just move across to Uganda for a second. And there's some really interesting things happening in Uganda, from mobile payments to mobile empowered entrepreneurs, Mobi agriculture. There's all sorts of things happening. So take Kaziko, for example. So her community is depending on her as a content moderator for a mobile agricultural platform. She's able to disseminate information about crops, about market prices, about where to find work, and also, tips and techniques on how to grow crops, how to plan crop rotations, and all this kind of thing. And this is provided as information on demand directly down to a mobile device, and not down to iPhones. This works over USSD, which is an SMS channel, meaning that it works on lower end feature phones as well. So this is how a lot of people are charging mobile phones, and this is the beginning of a new level of innovation, a new wave. Currently, there are a lot of kerosene and diesel generators that are used, which pollute the local area for charging mobile phones. But this is a thing called a Ready set, and Vodafone and Vodacom are selling these to entrepreneurs throughout Africa. It retails at about $285, so it is kind of pricey. But if you can just about afford one, you can actually set up a small business by yourself, charging mobile phones for people in your locality. So you can charge a small fee. Your users in your locality will queue up, get their mobile phone charged, and if you happen to own a shop, well, that's a great way of generating more footfall into your business and selling some ancillary products when they're in as well. So this is just one of the ways that mobile technology in emerging markets is helping people to embrace it and really move themselves out of poverty and to become entrepreneurs. In Kampala, which is also in Uganda, 30 to 40% of all the agri-chemicals are actually fake. Imagine that. So you go to the trouble of buying this stuff to put on your land to protect against pests and disease and crop failure, only to find that it doesn't work because the chemicals are fake. And because your crops don't grow, your family may starve, you may be on the poverty line again. So again, mobile technology has come in to help augment that experience and to help that make that more safe and secure. So by providing a number that you can scratch off on the bottle, there's again a USSD channel where you can text in and receive a confirmation code to ensure that the product you're using is in fact genuine. A recent research project that Harvard completed basically mapped 15 million mobile phone subscribers to plot against malaria. And they used operator data, GPS data, to essentially locate the areas that malaria was present in, the human population, and where it was spreading from, and where it originated. So that's another way that mobile technology is being used. But the real big challenge is, how do we bring the next billion people online? There are 1 billion people on this planet that still have no connectivity. Can you imagine any of your lives here today not connected? No Twitter, no Facebook, no mobile phones. So 1 billion people. The best way to do this is, of course, through the mobile channel. Nokia are making some great inroads into this with affordable mobile devices. This device here costs about $29. Guess how long the battery life lasts on this? 60 days. Who charged your iPhone this morning? Let's talk about smartphones for a second. Because in bringing the next billion online, wouldn't it be great if we could connect them using smart devices and not lower-end dumb phones? I think that'd be pretty cool. So Mozilla Firefox are a company that is really pioneering smartphone usage. They have a HTML5 driven operating system that allows anyone to create mobile applications and publish to the device. At the moment, they're launching the device in Brazil. The price is around $150 US, still well out of range for many people in emerging markets. So over the next couple of years, 18 months, we hope to see the price of this device reduced dramatically to make it affordable for everyone. And when everyone has this device, eventually you're going to empower a new level of entrepreneurship and leadership as well. The only thing about this device is, it's not going to be very popular, I don't think, in the Western world. It's compared to an Android, compared to an iPhone, it's kind of slow. We got to demo it over at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona a couple of months ago. It's a great device. If you put it in the hands of someone that hasn't seen a mobile phone before, they'll be absolutely blown away. But still, it's not up to the scratch of iPhone. I think mobile payments are going to be really big as well, but we need to look at, there's lots of things around NFC, payments, and we're going to need to look at how this translates into emerging markets. Let's just look at the growth factors for a second. So in 2007, we've gone from 2.14 billion in 2012 all the way up to 4.9 billion. So to me, that's absolutely tremendous growth. And when we look at what's powering that and what the problem factors are, that's fantastic growth. But there are 2.5 billion of those users that don't have access to any formal financial services. So that's a big problem. You're connected, you've got a mobile subscription, but still you have nowhere to put your money, no secure place. 62% of adults in this market are completely unserved. They have no access to any borrowing, any saving, or any current account capabilities. One country that's definitely pioneering in terms of mobile payments is Kenya. And they've been ranked 4th in the world for mobile payments. You might have heard of M-Pesa and the great work that they're doing around that. So they've actually ranked ahead of Japan even, and just behind the US. So it just shows that there's massive promise, and I think there's 1 billion users in the world that have a mobile device, that have no bank account but do have a mobile device. So this presents a huge opportunity for more users and to essentially bank the unbanked. So if I could leave you at one point today, the next mobile revolution, it's not coming from the United States. It's not coming from Europe. It's going to come from emerging markets. In emerging markets, mobile devices are used to start revolutions. They're used to locate fresh sources of water. They're used to promote agriculture. And they're used to do your banking. So the next mobile revolution, ladies and gentlemen, will be from emerging markets. Thank you very much.